And we are live with another episode of Comic Talk. It's that show brought to you by The Keeg, where we talk about this week's new comic book releases. For those of you who don't know, new comic books come out every Wednesday at your local comic shop, whether they're DC, whether they're Marvel, whether they're Image or Oni Press or whatnot. All of them come out on Wednesdays, and we're here on a Thursday to talk about everything that we could read in 24 hours. Hopefully, it runs the span of all the comics that come out this week. Most likely not, because there's a lot of comics out there, but we do our best. I'm your host, Dimithri Perera, and if you're watching us live, you're watching us on youtube.com/The Keeg Show, or maybe you're listening to the podcast wherever you get your podcast from. But no matter where you are, let us know you're out there. Like, comment, subscribe, follow, write a review, hop in the chat, do your thing. We got one guest today, and then maybe a late guest today if he can make it. We got Aaron, aka King Krakoa. Aaron, what's up, man?
What's going on, my guy? Nothing much. Just chilling. Another day in the life. How you doing?
Welcome back to the show.
Yes, thank you.
Just a heads up, your microphone is brushing again. So
thank you.
We gotta figure out.
I have this, this beard. It's the beard. It's always the damn beard. It's a blessing and a curse.
For anyone who's watching us live, Aaron does have a beard, and if you're listening to the podcast, then you can hear the beard. But Aaron, I'm always happy to have you on the show.
Always.
So
always happy to be on.
Thanks for coming on. So originally it was you and Drew that were all prepped for the show. But it's just me and you right now, and then if Drew pops by, Drew pops by.
Right, do a quick feature,
That being said, I mean, we both read, I think, a ton of comics this week.
Yeah, we read a lot. I read quite a bit.
You want me to? I mean, I'm gonna do something different today. I'll do my reading list, and then we'll go over the reading list. Sounds good?
Yeah, let's mix it up.
All right, so I read Absolute Superman 9, Action Comics 1088. I read Uncanny X-Men 17, Ultimate Spider-Man Incursion number 2, Miles Morales Spider-Man 35, Fantastic Four number 1, Laura Kinney Wolverine number 8, Rick and Morty versus the Universe issue 1, Predator Red, White, and Blood number 1, Batman Dark Patterns 8, Supergirl number 3, Superman Treasury 2025, and then the Magic Order, I think it's 5, number 6. So that's my list.
Okay, nice. So for my list, I have, where'd you go? There you go. So I have Uncanny X-Men number 17, Action Comics was 1088, Ultimate Spider-Man Incursion 2. I didn't get to read Miles Morales like I wanted to, but I read Batman and Robin number 23, Magic number 27, Fantastic Four number 1, Laura Kinney Wolverine number 8, Doctor Strange number 5, Superior Avengers number 4, I think. Trinity, Daughter of Wonder Woman 2, Wolverine and Kitty Pryde number 4, and I read half of Rick and Morty's versus the Universe.
Okay. All right, fair. A lot of good comics out this week.
Yeah, it wasn't much I expected, actually. To be honest.
It wasn't crazy, but I think what was interesting is there was 3 Superman books because it's Superman week, right? And so the 3 Superman books
makes so much sense now.
Now that I think about it. Yeah, like it was very Superman heavy. There was also Supergirl, right? And so as far as like though DC is concerned, this is the super week.
Right.
But like Marvel had some really good ones as well, and then I tried to venture outside of DC and Marvel. So like Rick and Morty versus the Universe is Oni Press. The Magic Order 5 number 6 is Dark Horse Comics. And then did you read The Unchosen?
Yes, actually.
Okay. So you
that
read The
was
Unchosen. That's Image Comics,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah, I was trying to do. I thank you for reminding me. That's also part of my list. Thank you. Yeah, I was trying to do the same thing. I was like, you know what, I'm going to branch out and try something different. And while I was like reading and looking down like what was out, I was like, The Unchosen sounds interesting. It has the things I like. We'll see what happens, and I enjoyed it.
Okay. Here's the question though: is
Mhm.
out of the books that we read, and obviously for anyone out there, there are more than just these comics that we listed that came out this week. But these are the ones that we got to read. These are the ones that we prioritized. But like depending on taste, depending on availability, like there's so many other comics out there as well. So shout out to not only DC and Marvel, but to the whole Image comics slate that came out this week, and Dynamite and Boom Studios and Oni Press. I don't normally read Oni Press stuff, but Oni Press did Rick and Morty. They
Mhm.
do the different Rick and Morty comics. So, um, I mean, we'll get to that when we get to it. But what was your pick of the week?
So my pick of the week was Uncanny X-Men number 17. Wolverine and Kitty Pryde number 4.
You're picking multiple
And
number ones
oh, my bad. My number one. Honestly, okay. I thought you meant my
after
top
reading
my tops.
everything. After
Oh,
reading it, not
okay,
your most hyped, because your most hyped is
okay.
like that's
Thank you.
pre-show, you know.
Okay, thank you for
Um,
clarifying. Okay.
but what's your
So
top?
after
What?
reading
Yeah.
everything, I would have to say, ooh, that's a hard one. You know what? The Unchosen.
Okay, let's talk about the
Yeah,
Unchosen.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, the Unchosen was very cool. Like it was. It's so I love a story about an underdog who, no one thought like it was basically a girl who thought she didn't have as much magical power or any power like the other people in her school. Then she ends up like the premise is she just ends up destroying a whole like place and like no one knows how she did it and you just like go in with it. But the story's like really like kind of it's a school story. It's like it gives like an energy of Doctor Strange Academy, the Strange Academy kids, but
Yeah.
like X-Men kind of also.
Are
So
they? Is it magic? Like, what's the premise?
that's the thing. I think it's magic, but it seems like it's other stuff too. But it feels like it's mostly just magic.
So I'm gonna be honest. I was looking at it and I was like, this just looks like Umbrella Academy.
Hmm.
Like, because they have the uniforms and everything, right?
Yeah, they have the uniforms. Like I can see where you would get that. No, I would think it's more like of Strange Academy, kind of like if you ever read that, like it's definitely gives that energy, but like probably for like 14 and up.
Okay. Now this is Image Comics. It's not tied with anything else, right? Like it's its own
No,
thing.
no, it's his own thing, but I love it because it was it's actually written and drawn by one of my new like upcoming favorite artists, like well not upcoming, he's been in there, but David Marquez.
Yeah.
I think he draws for the Uncanny X-Men,
Mm-hmm.
the new run as well.
So he
And
had two
yeah,
books that came out this week.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's been doing this thing. Like I love his art. It's so like everybody he draws is gorgeous.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, that was my top book. I have to say that impressed me. And usually I'm an X-Men guy, so but that was my thing.
I mean, it kind of you're making it sound like it has X-Men vibes, right?
It can kind of give an X-Men vibe, like a good like student like young mutant kind of vibes. I think.
Okay. Um I wanted to pick it up, but I didn't get a chance to do that, so I didn't read it. But
Hmm.
David Marquez does really good work, and I like his
Yeah.
work on Uncanny. But um,
Hmm. I
and it's
never known him as a writer,
yeah, this is like
so
he's
that
writing
was
and doing art for it, right?
yeah, exactly. He's writing the story and doing it. So I was like, okay, I want to see how this goes. And I didn't even know until I picked up the book and I was like, this art looks really familiar. And then I looked at it and I was like, oh, okay. I was tuned in. I was like, let's see if you're a master of all, a jack of all trades in this in the sense.
Yeah, but it
And
seems
he
like he
impressed me.
was because this was your pick of the
Yeah,
week.
yeah. Honestly, yeah. I love I love magical shit, and that it fed into that, but also it was a good story. It told like a good little like it's building up to like I'm ready to see what happens in episode issue 2.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I need to give it a shot. It looks cool just by the cover. I mean, if it doesn't capture me, then I'm not gonna continue. Like, it is what, right? That's anyone's prerogative.
Yeah, I can
right?
see that for sure.
But like,
I think
it looks cool.
Do you like Strange Academy?
Yeah, I like Strange Academy.
Okay. Oh, then you'll like it. I think you'll like it then. Yeah.
Okay.
It's very much like that. But what's your favorite one of this week?
My pick of the week. I'll get to that in just a second.
Okay.
After this commercial break. No, we don't have commercial break. Can you imagine though? I would love advertising to do a commercial break.
If anybody's out there, if you want to sponsor my boy, you know, we're here, The Geek Show. Come on.
Shout out to the Vinyl Casket out there on YouTube. Once again, we're on youtube.com/The Keeg Show. So if you want to chat with us, hop in the chat right there, and we'd be more than happy to have you.
Right, because that was definitely me last week on the boards.
On the what?
on the boards on YouTube Live last week.
You were on the well, what was it? You hopped in. What show was it?
I was on the YouTube Live. I was on the Comic Talk. No, I wasn't on the Comic Talk. I was on the Fantastic Four.
That's what it was. The Fantastic Four episode that we did. Yeah. All right. So, what was I saying here? What was I saying? Vinyl Casket's out there saying hi. Vinyl Casket says, sounds cool. It's in my polls. I'll get it at the end of the month. I'm happy that it sounds like my intuition was correct on this one. So I think talking about Unchosen. So
definitely get it, Vinyl Casket. You'll like it.
I think my pick of the week, is I think it's Action Comics 1088.
Huh, okay.
Because here's what it is. So, I mean, Superman comics are amazing right now. And that's because I think DC is caring about it, but it's also because the talent that they have on the Superman books are
it's
like
amazing.
Premier talent, right? So like Mark Waid is writing Action Comics right now. And so Action Comics, the story that's taking place that Mark Waid wants to tell is the story of Superboy. So Superboy, they've put it back into continuity that, because it's not always in continuity when they do this, but like when Clark was a teenager, he was Superboy. Now, some adaptations have it that he is not Superboy. He's never Superboy, and that when he goes to Metropolis, then he becomes Superman. So they've worked it back in DC continuity that like he was Superboy when he was younger. So Mark Waid is essentially writing the stories where Clark has gone public as Superboy. So he's like retelling almost like those origin stories. And it's Mark Waid, so you know it's going to be good, and it is good. And it's kind of cool the way they go about it. So like he can't, like, people think that, oh, he must be somebody from Metropolis because he first appears in Metropolis.
Right.
But that's because him and his family took like a trip to Metropolis from Smallville. So like nobody knows that Superboy's from Smallville, which is good because that would narrow things down a lot, right? So
very much.
It's pretty good. I don't know what to say. Mark Waid writes a really compelling story here. And what's kind of funny,
and I like the art in it too.
The art is good. It's also like Mark Waid wrote Superman Birthright, which was an origin story back in like 2004, I think. And so like now it's almost like he's kind of rewriting the origin story again. I don't know. I like it. I like it a lot. And it's Superman.
Yeah.
And like I've been on a Superman high.
Yeah.
You know, for the past year, right? So
they've done their work on Superman, because like honestly, like who gave, like, I'm to excuse my French, but I didn't give two shits and a cat about Superman. Like, but like honestly, since they kind of whoever started it by roping the rest of the super family into it and actually like telling a story of like and doing the work about for Clark, that's when I was like, okay, I'm paying attention because who would have ever thought like these days I'm getting Superman and Batman comics. It's crazy. Like
Yeah.
they're doing the work, I must say. And like Mark Waid is a great writer, so like I very much trust him in what he's doing with it.
Yeah. Here's the thing: is like I grew up with the Superman cartoon, and I liked the Batman cartoon better, but I always appreciated Superman. I liked him on the Justice League. Like I would never have asked that the Justice
Yeah.
League doesn't have Superman. Like the Justice League
Yeah.
needs Superman, right? So
Yeah, that's one time he's relevant to me.
and I liked the Superman cartoon. I remember loving it as a kid. Each episode was, was a different stories and whatever, and they were a little bit more lighthearted than the Batman stories. But I always liked Superman. I never loved him. And then I think for a point in time, it was hard to love Superman because you could tell DC Comics didn't love Superman. Like they didn't respect him, they didn't love him. They always wanted him to be something else. In around like the 2000s.
That's it.
You know what I mean? It's like when you have a kid and you're not accepting your kid for who they are, you're trying to like be like, no, this kid needs to play like football. And it's like, no, they want to do like
exactly.
Well, it's just High School Musical, right? Like your kid
right.
wants
to
play basketball.
I was like, he's Troy Bolton.
But they just, want to.
I want to dance, Dad. I want to dance.
I mean this figuratively, right? Like it's DC treating the property of Superman and being like, well, how can we make Superman like Batman? And it's like, don't make him like Batman. Make him like keep him the way he is. The cartoon in the 90s did a good job with it, and DC kind of forgot about it after a while. And only as of the past however many years, fairly recent, let's just say 5 years to be generous, DC is like, oh yeah, Superman is Superman. And he gets to be Superman, and he doesn't have to play basketball, he can do the musical with Gabriella.
Right. Right. That's exactly it.
So
I appreciate
he's living his best life as a concept, right?
Honestly.
So
he's honestly one of the few superheroes who get to be happy and still have a story and still make a storyline. And like he also proves to the argument that like heroes can be happy and still like, go on to have good storylines. You just have to have the right people, those who or who have control of Spider-Man. If you're listening,
I was about to say I'm glad DC doesn't torture Superman like Marvel tortures Peter Parker.
Oh man.
But it's funny because
about the shit in the stick.
Marvel doesn't torture Miles Morales.
Yeah.
Marvel tortures Peter Parker, but Miles is kind of scot-free. Like Miles is living his best life.
He went through some things, but like you had to like jump a universe, but like you got your whole family back, and like
right.
And now you have like a whole new sister, and this is like I feel this goes to the term like Peter had to walk so Miles could run, kind of for real.
Like Peter suffered a lot, sure.
Yeah.
And well, all these heroes, they suffer, but like Marvel tortures Peter.
Oh man, right? In the worst way.
But like Miles Morales got the better end of the stick because his mom died originally.
Yes.
Remember?
Yes, in the Ultimate Universe. Yeah.
And then when they got brought over, she's back to being alive. So he got his mom back because of Secret Wars. He got a baby sister, and then he now has like a clone brother.
A brother, right? And a cool ass girlfriend who I still love to this day. Yes, I love her to this day.
So good for Miles. Good for Miles.
Yeah.
Does DC I don't think DC is torturing anyone right now. Sometimes they torture Batman.
Yeah, sometimes he goes through it, but
I don't think they're torturing anyone.
Right I'm trying to think I don't think at least no one has to suffer. I feel like there's somebody we're gonna think about it. I'm gonna think about it midway through. I'm like he's gone through it.
Yeah, I mean we'll do that. So
we'll get into it.
Those are our picks of the week, but like we both read a lot. So, I
Yeah.
mean, how do you wanna hit this? Because
Hmm. Let's see. We can talk about Fantastic Four first.
I was
Let's
about to
do
say
that
that
one.
Fantastic Four is a
Yeah.
new number one with the same,
Yeah.
essentially the same creative team. It's at least Ryan North. I don't know if the artist changed from last time, but like it's the same writer, just starting again on
Mm-hmm.
issue number one. Um,
Right.
I think it's to coincide with the movie coming out so that fans
Mm-hmm.
can go to the comic shop, look for Fantastic Four stuff, and not see
And
like,
see a number one.
yeah, you want to
Yeah.
see a number one, right?
That's
So,
exactly what I was like, because you guys had like an ongoing story, and then you guys just went to a whole number one. I was like,
did you read the last issue?
I haven't.
That's the one. Was I on an episode with you when I said like it made me cry?
Yeah. Yeah.
Was that when we
I think that
talked
was my
about
last
it?
one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that one made me cry, and then now it's a new number one, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool. That works. That works. But it's
Fine,
the
I
same
guess.
writer, Ryan North, and Ryan North is doing an amazing job. Did you like
Yeah.
this issue?
I did like it. It was it's Fantastic Four shit. Yeah, I absolutely love it though. Like it's I don't know how I feel about Johnny and this porn stash, this handlebar mustache that he has going
Does he
on.
still have
He
the
definitely
stash?
has that. He definitely has it. I'm like it differentiates him. I was like it gives him like a different look, but also for why. Like I feel like you just have a thick little porn stash and you'll be good. Like
Yeah.
or just have a beard. I would appreciate him with
No, but then
a
everybody's
Firestorm
getting a
beard.
beard. Reed's gonna have a
Everybody
beard.
does have a
Ben
beard.
Grimm's gonna have a beard. You know, like Johnny's gonna
I
have a
know, but
beard.
Firestorm should have a hot dad era. It should have like a beard era,
You say
just for a little bit.
Firestorm? You mean Human Torch?
Yeah, that's exactly what I meant. I am so sorry, guys.
Firestorm has not done anything
It, in a
in
long time, actually.
in DC Comics in a long
Gosh,
time. Yeah,
shout out to Firestorm out there in the ether. Just chilling, waiting for his
yeah.
moment.
It's like poor Firestorm. I don't even know what's up with Firestorm
Poor-
nowadays.
right. Is it still? Did Robbie come back? Is it Robbie and the and Jax?
Well,
Is
no,
it
Ronnie.
Robbie and
It's
the
Ronnie
Doctor?
Raymond
Ronnie.
and Jason Rouge.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought okay, because they call him Jackson in the
No.
Legends of
In
Tomorrow. That's why I
the
get it.
CW show,
Yep.
Jason Rouge was a different character, but they like wrote him off real quick.
Yeah.
And then they brought in Jax, who was an original character. And
Yeah, I thought he was the second guy. I thought Ronnie was the original.
so Ronnie's the original. Okay, so in the CW Flash show, Ronnie's the original with Martin Stein. Then Ronnie like dies, and then Martin Stein needs someone to fuse with. So Martin Stein fuses with Jax. But Jason Rouge appears in like an earlier episode, but they don't use him for anything.
Yeah.
They write him off. So then Martin Stein merges with Jax. And Jax is an original character, but in the CW show, Ronnie has the personality of comic book Jason, and Jax in the CW show has the personality of comic book Ronnie.
Oh, okay.
So like they kind of, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Because I remember like the only thing I read of like Firestorm in comics was like Blackest Night, and when Ronnie came back to life, and it was just like him in the new one, not but I think Dr. Stein had died, maybe.
Yeah, probably. Because then
he was old.
In the comics, Ronnie and Jason are the merged ones, not with
Martin
Stein.
Yeah.
That's like a whole thing. Yeah.
Right.
So anyway, we're not talking about Firestorm.
But yeah, we got to a whole Firestorm.
Fantastic Four.
Yeah, Fantastic Four was really good though.
Yeah, he still does have. He has the mustache. You know what Johnny Storm with a mustache reminds me of? There, there are people who think that like they're so good looking that like they can just experiment with any style,
anything,
and like any style will.
I see that for Johnny,
work
honestly.
for them, and like a lot of the time it does, right? Like how many like attractive people do you see that have just really weird, like they did something really weird with their style, but you're like, all right, that's fine. They're attractive.
I guess you're hot. You're hot. I guess it works.
So I think Johnny Storm has that. Like nobody in their right mind, especially someone Johnny Storm's age, would have that mustache.
Yes.
But Johnny doesn't need. He's so privileged. He can do whatever he wants. He could grow that mustache out,
and everything will be fine.
You know, Good for him.
Right.
Yes.
He has his Sons of Anarchy mustache, and
Yeah.
everybody's just gonna be okay with it, I guess. Well,
He's just playing
beautiful
around,
gowns.
you know.
Yeah, right. Just experimenting with his fashion.
Yeah.
Everybody does it right now and
And
then.
either way, the girls are gonna love him. So he
It's
just kind of
honestly,
he's like, yeah.
yeah.
In this issue though, it starts off with the Fantastic Four. They're fighting Doom again after just gaining their powers back in the previous run. They went back up against
Yes.
Doom. They lost, and Doom sent them to 4 time periods.
Yep.
And so they have to, in this issue, communicate through time. And I'm not going to go too far into it, but like they got to communicate through time while being stuck in different times, which
Right.
Ryan North writes a really good science fiction, like,
Yeah.
sort of story.
It was a good science fiction story, and I like that they reiterated that like Sue was the leader, and like she's gonna be the one to like she has to be the one to save them and like see where they're at. But like now we figure out that she's like way ahead of everybody else.
Yeah.
So like I'm kind of excited to see where this goes, and now I kind of want to finish reading where I left off on Fantastic Four, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely think the Ryan North run is probably just my recommendation for anyone to start with Fantastic Four is the previous run. Start with that. You want like good old fashioned like science fiction stuff. That being said, I've been going back and rereading big runs of Fantastic Four and trying to get a feel of like why do I like it. So Mark Miller wrote a run of Fantastic Four that's very cinematic because he loves to write cinematically. For better or for worse, like Mark Miller writes for movies, right? Like his style is very movie. But Ryan North writes like it's a TV show.
Kind of, yeah, I can see that actually. Yeah, very much so. Like, what era of Fantastic Four is your favorite?
I'll tell you that I think the era of Fantastic Four that made me like the Fantastic Four, again for better or for worse, it was Mark Miller's run. Because it drew me in with the art, the Brian Hitch art, and the cinematic nature of it. And then right after he gets done, Jonathan Hickman takes over, and I read into that. So like, from pretty much from that point on, I was reading Fantastic Four, and then after Jonathan Hickman does his run, then we get into like the Freedom Foundation Freedom Foundation, and like, all that stuff. Like I loved those runs.
Yeah, I did like Future Foundation.
Oh now, yeah, Future. Why am I saying Freedom Foundation? Future Foundation. Yeah.
Now, was Mark Miller the one with during Civil War?
Mark Miller was right post Civil War.
Okay. Because I think the Civil War era was my favorite. Yeah, to be honest, like Sue leaving Reed, I think that was amazing. I loved it when they all separated the family. I loved it every moment. Black Panther and Storm.
I was such a sucker for Mark Miller's like Ultimates and stuff like that. Like Mark Miller and Brian Hitch, and the way he writes things. Mark Miller likes to write very specific things. Like, he likes to throw specificity in his dialogue to be, like, cool. Like, he'll be like, all right, Reed, we got to get out of here. Did you, like, order your pancakes from the diner? And he was like, yes, I did it 256 minutes ago. Before we even walked in. That's like Mark Miller writing Reed Richards. It's like, Reed, did you pick up the clothing from the dry cleaners? And then Reed will be like, of course I did. And then I sent it back in time so to get even cleaner. And it's like, what? Like,
what, Reed?
He'll always do this like one up thing where it's like everything you expect Reed Richards to be smart at, Mark Miller's like, yeah, but then add 20 more.
Right.
Like, okay.
Actually, he's a very actually person. Like,
Reed, did you fix the Fantastic car? Yeah, I fixed it hours ago, and I had time to fix all of New York's bicycles.
Right. Right, and I modified it.
Yeah. Everybody has a flying bicycle now in New York. So that's Mark Miller's Reed Richards. Anyway, the point being is Ryan North's Reed Richards, like, you could tell Ryan North knows science. So
Yeah,
it comes out very sciencey.
I can see that.
As
Very much
opposed to
so,
like
yeah.
feats of science, you know? It's
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
the specific stuff about science. So anyway, I thought it was a good start, and it's a good, you
Yeah.
know. I do think that a storyline like Fantastic Four #1, this one, is probably better to wait for the trade, because like if you're
I see
reading an
that.
issue where they all get split up into different times, I don't know whether you need to read it week after week, because like read it after the story arc is done. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah, I was like, it depends on how much they grab my attention, because there'll be times I'll be too impatient to be like, I need to know what happens. I can't wait until the trades.
Yeah. All right. Let's hit the other things that we. Do you read Absolute Superman #9?
I didn't get to read that one, but tell me
No.
about it. I was going to.
Okay, so
No.
basically, like we're going into more of like Ra's al Ghul has Lois Lane captive, and then she sasses him, and he's like, all right, that's cool. And then like the Omega Men, which are the like kind of like terrorist organization that's in the Absolute DC universe. So it's like Jimmy Olsen and whatnot.
Mhm.
I think they're the Omega Men is what they're calling them. Anyway, the point being is like this whole issue was about like the Omega Men like winning over the trust of Kal-El, you know? And so you get some like interesting
Okay.
things. There also is, and I don't know who out there, I was hoping you had read this, because it shows us who Alpha is, or Omega or whatever. Like there's a girl with the
Mhm.
mask, and the mask comes off, and I don't think it names her, but I have my theory on who it is.
It doesn't give away like you're supposed to know who she is, kind of.
No, you could see that like they're drawing her face very distinctively. So it's like
Oh, okay.
the artist knows who it is, but I don't think it tells us.
Right.
But my theory, and it's probably not even a crazy theory, maybe they mention it in the book and like it's obvious. I think it's Talia. I think it's Talia al Ghul.
Hmm.
Because she's brown
I
skinned, she
mean,
has kind of light eyes, you know. Um,
okay.
when she takes off her mask, and then
Well,
like Ra's al Ghul is the bad guy, so Talia
yeah, it
running the
would make
counter
sense.
ops against him kind of makes sense. So
Right. Unless it's like her sister's, random appearance or random cameos that she does in the
talking about
universe.
Nissa al
Nissa.
Ghul.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it could be. Um, there's a moment in this book where you think I keep reading this book, and I'm like, what is the difference between Absolute Superman and regular Superman, and like how are they going about it? And he's not quite as nice, but he's still a good-hearted person. So there is a point where
Hmm.
like who I think is Talia tries to shoot a bad guy, and it just cuts away, and it makes it seem like he let the bad guy get shot, and then later he has the
Mm.
bullet in his hand. So I'm like, okay, I thought they're going the route of
Okay.
he's okay with people dying, but even in this story, he's not okay with people dying.
Right. Okay.
So, you know,
Okay.
that's
Let's
Absolute
see. Let me
Superman
see.
#9. You read Batman and Robin 23, right?
Yeah.
You want to
Yeah.
tell
I
me?
liked it. I'm still very much liking the run of this one. It
Okay.
was how do I
I didn't read this
explain
one.
it?
I kind of
Oh, you
dropped
didn't?
off.
Oh,
I
okay.
dropped off a couple issues ago. It's been really hard for me to want to
Hmm.
keep up with Batman and Robin. Not that it's bad. It just I prioritize some of the other things on top. Damien's not even my
Yeah.
favorite Robin. So like it's kind
Not
of
mine
like
either.
like are you reading Robin and Batman Jason Todd? Did you read that first issue?
Mm-mm.
So
I
that
was I was tempted, honestly. It looked kind of good.
yeah, it was good. I'm more interested in that. I'm more interested in Dick
Okay.
Grayson Robin stories or Jason Todd or Tim Drake. I think Damien might be like my least favorite Robin.
Jason Todd's my least favorite. I
Okay.
feel like Damien's my second to least. It
Who's your
goes.
favorite?
Mine
Tim.
is definitely gonna be. Oh, Tim for sure.
Yeah.
Like even before he was by. Like I always loved Tim.
Yeah.
It's Tim, Dick, then Damian, then Jason for sure.
Okay. Well, I don't like Jason as Robin per se, but the miniseries is good because you're kind of showing what this kid was like. So I think it's pretty good.
Right. Right, we don't get much of him as Robin, so like, yeah, the chances we get, I feel like you should, yeah, I feel like it should be a good little experience.
By the way, I don't need to have to mention that everybody should be going and seeing Superman this weekend. So shout out to Superman.
Yeah.
Go see it. I saw it on Tuesday, and I'm gonna go see it again tonight. So.
Oh, nice, nice.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm definitely gonna go see it tomorrow. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go tomorrow. Maybe we'll see. We'll see how it goes. How the day goes.
I want to talk about Rick and Morty. So here's the
Okay.
thing. Here's the thing about Rick and Morty. Like, there's a lot of like Oni Press does the Rick and Morty comics, and Rick and Morty comics normally are about like 3 or 4 issues of a storyline, and that's like the Rick and Morty comics. It's not an ongoing.
Right.
Oni Press just does a bunch of miniseries for Rick and Morty, and they're all
Right.
thematically based around concepts like pro wrestling or whatever, kind of like how episodes of Rick and Morty are, right? Like based
Yeah.
around a concept. They're like, this is our MCU episode of Rick and Morty. Like that's what they do. So, like, I don't pick up the other Rick and Morty stuff because I don't necessarily think like the humor is a little bit different, a humor in a comic book is different
very
than
much so.
animation. And you didn't read this
Yeah.
one, right?
Yeah, I didn't get to read all of it. No, I read like maybe half, maybe like a little bit less than that.
Okay, so what I'm going to ask you this question because I have my answer.
Mhm.
Why did you want to read this one? Because as far as I know, as far as you've been on this show, because you've been on the show for like
Yeah,
2.5 years
never
or whatever.
read this one.
Like,
Right.
I don't think you've mentioned reading Rick and Morty comics.
I don't think I ever have, honestly. I was just like, you know what? It seemed like a good one. And it was honestly, you know what? I had just realized the new Rick and Morty season was out, and I had just like binge watched the first episodes, and I was like, okay, I guess I'll.
And that's why you think you wanted to read this one?
Yeah, I needed more.
So
I needed more Rick and Morty.
So my reasoning for this is
Mhm.
I thought the cover design is really cool because all the other Rick and Morty covers are full cover artwork, but in this,
Yeah.
for anyone watching the live stream, you can see it. But if you're listening to the podcast, you might want to look it up if you want to. But it like the top like quarter of the page is white with like text, and then underneath it, so it seemed like an Ultimate Marvel book or like that kind of design of a cover. And I just thought it looked interesting. Then it said a Rick and Morty comic book event, and I'm like, well, I don't know what that means, but like the cover looks cool.
Right. What am I
like,
listening? Right.
I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. So I bought it.
Right.
I read it, and I liked it. It was actually funny.
Yeah, the parts I read were actually funny. Like,
Yeah.
I think I just ended up forgetting about it, and I ended up like reading like Uncanny X-Men after, and then I was like, oh
Yeah.
crap, I forgot all about that.
I don't know if have you read any Disney comics like Donald Duck comics or like DuckTales comics or like comedic
I've read Lilo and
Disney
Stitch.
comics? Okay, so I mean that's a current one, but like, so like Disney has a line of comics that have been around since like the 60s, right? Like, but they're more popular in Europe than they are in America. Disney comics never really hit in America, but in Europe, Disney comics are like an ongoing thing. Like Scrooge McDuck had his own comic strip even before DuckTales came around. Like he was like a main character, had his own comic series and everything, and Donald Duck had his own comic series, whatever.
Right.
I'm drawing a comparison between Rick and Morty animation and then Rick and Morty the comic versus like Donald Duck animation versus Donald Duck the comic. Like the style of jokes and the style of the way they present it is very similar. Like the animation on both series
Okay.
versus, and they're different subject matter, of course. Rick and Morty is adult and whatnot, but like the way they pace jokes, the humor is very animated show made into a comic. I don't know, it's hard to describe. You'd have to like
Okay.
read, like maybe I do a video
I
comparing
I
these.
completely get it. I completely get it because it's like when I watched the Star Trek Lower Decks on Paramount Plus, and then
Oh,
I read the comics.
yeah,
Yeah, and I was like, it's very much the same. Like you can tell, like these are jokes that were meant for TV, but like but there are sometimes, and sometimes they don't land because it's not on TV. But you can tell, like with the right writer, they have it to where like you get where it's landing, and you
yeah,
understand like the concept of where they're talking because you know who the characters are in the show. Like you kind of like it kind of dictates how you read that humor sometimes as well. So like
yeah.
I completely understand that.
Shout out to Tim Sheridan. I did a one-on-one interview with him a couple weeks back. He's writing the Star Trek Lower
Yeah.
Decks comic right now. So
Oh, shout out. Okay, yeah, I
yeah,
love those Lower Decks
yeah.
comics. Yeah,
Because
they're
so
actually
Tim
good.
Sheridan did Alan Scott Green Lantern, and Teen Titans Academy, and right
Oh
now Star
yeah,
Trek Lower Decks.
yeah.
So
I need some of that.
I think this is hard for me to explain. Somebody else has to have read, I think, like a Donald Duck comic. Oh, did you read any of the Disney comics that have coming out from Marvel recently? Like Donald Duck is Iron Man comic. Like,
No, I haven't read
okay.
those ones.
They're all very similar in the style that like they also do a style of humor that doesn't work in a cartoon setting. Like it works in a comic setting. You have to like know the
Comic,
medium
got
for
you.
this. Anyway,
Okay.
I don't need to go too far into depth, but if anyone's a fan of Rick and Morty, I do recommend Rick and Morty versus the Universe issue 1, and it is a comic book event because it's not only I think like 4 issues of the main thing, but there's a bunch of one-shots and they bring up like they're like Jerry just like maybe you'll just get a one-shot. And then like Summer's like, "Do I get a one-shot?" And he's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Yeah." Like it's just very Rick and Morty like breaking the fourth wall sort of thing. And like there's this
Okay, I fuck
like
with it.
literal point of the comic is like literal universes are personified, and then when universes get married they merge, and so continuity from 2 universes merge because
Huh.
that's how it works. Anyway, that's kind of the point of it. It's worth checking out for anyone who's a fan of Rick and Morty. They do censor the profanity, but like the profanity is you can still tell what it is. It's like
You don't know
F
the
F
words.
star star K, So
Okay. I
it is
respect
what it
that.
is. Anyway, that was Rick and Morty versus the Universe. 2 Miles Morales books came out this week. One of
Yeah.
them you didn't read, right? You didn't read Miles Morales
Yeah.
Spider-Man 35?
hmm
So
No, I didn't get to read that one.
I'll just state briefly, like, this is God War Part 3. If you like Greek mythology, if you like Anansi, they do go over, like, the kind of the mythology of Greek and then Anansi. I don't know specifically what mythology Anansi is from, like, specific tribal or area-wise. But it's pretty cool if you want to see Miles Morales and
Right.
Greek mythology and Anansi kind of, like, hang out. It's pretty cool. We don't need to go much into that. But Ultimate Spider-Man Incursion #2 takes Miles Morales to the new Ultimate Marvel Universe. Did you like this issue?
Yes, actually I did. Like I don't know why I liked at first, because at first when I first read it, I didn't know what was going on because I haven't read the first one. So I was like, do Killmonger and Aurora have a child together? What's going on? And then I
Oh,
read more into it. I was like, okay, this I get it. But like I like the story that it's telling, and like her going into Wakanda, like them like doing the whole thing and like seeing that she had the same energy as the Maker. And I
yeah.
was like, okay. At first I was like, wait, why does she have the same energy as the Maker? But then I was like, I guess they're technically from the same universe
No,
as well?
no, because you didn't read the first issue, right?
No.
So
Mm-mm.
it brings up something that happened in Ultimate Invasion, which was the small
Okay.
miniseries that brings up the Maker creating this like the
Yeah.
new Ultimate Marvel. So just so everybody knows, the old Ultimate Marvel universe was Universe 1610, so 1610. The
Mm-hmm.
new Ultimate Marvel universe is 6160. Just so we know that the old
It's
one,
not the same.
it's not the same universe. We've known this.
Right.
I've been vocal about
I've
that.
been I've been very viscerally angry about that ever
You didn't know
since. But
this?
yeah. Oh no, I knew. I
Okay.
knew this, like, once I read, because I read it and I was like, this isn't my alternate universe.
No.
What's going on?
My original thought was I thought it was originally 616, the same as a 616 universe, and then Maker goes in and changes things, but it's not.
Mm-hmm.
It's its own universe that is very similar to the 616, but like the Punisher was around in the 70s. Like there's little things like that. Anyway, the point being is,
Mm-hmm.
what was I gonna say? Um, in Ultimate Invasion, the Maker, he doesn't want to kill Miles. He's like, we're brothers, is what he says.
Yeah.
So he gives him a business
Yeah.
card, and he's like, you ever want to like come with me? Here's the business card. So Miles throws the business card in the trash, or something along those lines. In the beginning of Ultimate Spider-Man Incursion issue 1, Billy, Miles's baby sister, touches the card, opens up a portal, and Miles jumps in to save her. So they both go to the new Ultimate Marvel universe, but he's trying to find his little sister. And so in issue
Mm.
1, he hangs out with Peter Parker and his son. And then in this issue, he's with Hank and Janet trying to find T'Challa, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't know if
The
you're up to
bugs
date
going
with the
out on an
Ultimates,
adventure.
but Janet works for Nick Fury. She's a double agent. Do you
Ah,
remember that?
okay. Okay. Yeah. No, I'm behind on that one. I'm behind
Okay.
on the Ultimates.
So
No,
the
but I
twist is
like that actually.
she's technically a traitor in the Ultimates, the Wasp,
She's the Black Widow of the group. Okay.
but she's not evil. But she's working for Nick
Right.
Fury for whatever reason,
She's
right?
Black Widow. Right. I was
You
like,
know.
because Black Widow, even when she was like working, she's always working for Nick Fury.
So yeah, in this issue, I thought it was good.
Yeah.
I like the little things. They don't overdo this crossover. They're not overdoing it. Like the little things they do are pretty cool. Like Wakanda is like, for some reason this guy has vibranium in his suit. And they're very confused on why that is. And then
Yeah.
because like Miles has it, you know? So anyway, if you're watching us right now, let us know you're out there. Like, comment, subscribe, follow, write a review, hop in the chat. Let us know if you picked up any comics, or if you haven't picked up comics, go to comicshoplocator.com, find a comic shop near you, and support your local comic shops.
Sure.
Anyway, do you have any thoughts about Ultimate Spider-Man Incursion
Oh,
number
very
2?
much. I I liked it. So I I liked his little, like, the subtle thing about talking about like Quinjets, and they were like, "What is a Quinjet?" And like, what are the Avengers? Where are the Ultimates? He's like,
Yeah.
the Ultimates. Cool. Like, I'm like, bro, how? And my thing is, like, does he not remember that he was an Ultimate? Like, does
No,
he
no.
does he
So
have no
he has
memory of
weird
it?
deja vu. It goes over it in this story. He gets a weird deja vu.
Yeah.
Like, I've heard of the Ultimates before, and so
Yes.
it's because although Miles knows about the previous universe, his mind can't remember the previous universe,
Come.
because
Okay.
that would just get way too
Okay.
confusing if you have like your two like timelines in your one head.
Right.
Like, Miles knows that he's different. He knows the
Right.
broad strokes that there was a previous universe. There's something along those lines.
Mm-hmm.
But like, he doesn't remember specific things. Like, that universe is Peter Parker.
Let's wait for the
Because things would
rest.
get way too confusing. if he lived
Yeah.
2 lives, because essentially he did.
Yeah. Because you're gonna be always looking at your mother and be like, "You're not my mom. Like,
Yeah, like
you're not
she's
my
dead,
real
she's
mom."
alive, you know?
Right? Now I have a sister from a dead mother. What's happening?
Right.
Yeah, that would I can see it. I can
Yeah.
see that.
Again, Miles really lucked out with the end of Secret Wars because characters that were Ultimate Marvel like original characters like
Hmm.
Genki got to be brought over
Yeah.
to the 616 universe and not like dead.
Right?
Like good for him, dude.
Right? Look, and
So,
I'm glad they brought the maker back in commission, because he
yeah.
was my, out of everything of the Ultimate Universe, he was my favorite thing to watch, because I read that whole Ultimate Fantastic Four universe thing. I literally read him become a villain, and that's why I was like, this is why I appreciate the maker and all he does.
There was a okay, so like I don't want to get too much into it, but the old Ultimate Marvel universe, a lot of the time the old Ultimate Marvel universe was going parallel to the Marvel universe. Like they
Hmm.
didn't do anything too crazy. They were just like, here's our universe where things mirror it, but like it's a little bit different, right?
Yeah.
And then after a certain point, they're like, no, we're wrecking everything and like anything goes. And then it became not a mirror universe, it became like just its own
Yeah.
wacko universe, you know?
Yeah. Anything goes at that point. Yeah.
Right. So when Peter died, there was that whole thing. There was Miles again.
Yeah.
He didn't have a 616 counterpart that we knew of until later we found
Hmm.
out. But things like that. Um, yeah. Anyway, Ultimate
Yeah. He was
Marvel
the only brick
Universe.
out of that.
Love it, hate it. It's tough. I grew up with it.
Yeah.
What am I gonna do? You know.
Yeah. You know, right. It's imprinted on me.
You know, Ultimate X-Men also like
For better or worse.
yeah,
It's
it's part
imprinted.
of me. It's part of my heart, you
That,
know?
but I'm not gonna lie, that first part of that story ate
Oh,
up. Like it was amazing.
I can
Like,
tell you
what?
exactly where I stopped liking the Ultimate X-Men comics.
Ooh, where?
It was I mean, I liked it all the way up until like even with the Onslaught Apocalypse that Phoenix Force thing, but then
Forgot about that.
the arc right after that made no sense. And that was the one with the Banshee drug. You remember the Banshee drug?
Fuck, I forgot about that. Yeah,
And
yeah.
they were like, "Oh, Colossus he doesn't have super strength. He just has metal
His
skin,
metal
but
skin. Yeah, and I'm
he
like, and
uses
he
the
can't
Banshee
like hold
drug to
himself
give
up.
him a second mutation." And it became this whole
Yeah,
and it doesn't make any sense because when he was in Weapon X in like the second volume of Ultimate X-Men, he wasn't taking the Banshee drug. So
exactly.
it just didn't make any sense. Anyway, shout out to everybody out there. Hop in the chat and say hi. So we got a bunch of other comics that we got to get through.
Let's get to it.
Murder Me Mutina. Did you like this? Uncanny X-Men
uh,
issue 17. Did you like it? I think it's
the-
it's a very interesting premise.
very interesting premise. That's the exact thing I was thinking of. I was like, it was interesting for sure, because I was like, and it's so very topical, of course. And like, I was just like, this is the story worked, honestly. Like, I liked what it was. I liked what it was. The story it was telling, and of course, the art was amazing. But
Yeah.
like, the kids going to see the movie, and like, with some of the kids like, it's stupid, let it go. But like, well, there was the one like, okay, they feel some type of way. I thought it was a really good story to tell, honestly.
It's interesting. So, I mean, for anyone out there who wants to know the premise, and this is just one issue, like it's a different issue or it's a different story next issue. But in
Yeah.
this, basically a slasher movie, a horror movie is being released and it's drumming up a lot of buzz because the
Right.
murderer is a mutant. And they
Right.
go over like the cast of the movie talking about how it's not anti-mutant, it's actually more pro-mutant and like them kind of like
Pro
jumping through
mutant. Right.
hoops, but then mutants are getting mistreated because of it. Like it's drumming up anti-mutant hysteria
Right.
because this horror movie is like that, right? And so
Yeah.
it reminds me of two things. First thing that came to mind was Birth of a Nation. And
Oof.
do you know
Mm-hmm.
Birth of a Nation,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So Birth of a Nation clearly, like, it's runaway slaves are the murderers, right? Like they are, like, that's Birth of a Nation. And so in this, it's
Right.
a mutant being a slasher. So it's very like
Mm-hmm.
it drums up anti anything hysteria, depending on
Right.
who the thing is. It also brings
But
up
like when they said the
what's that?
oh no, go ahead, my bad.
Oh, I was gonna say it also brings up Psycho, like in my head, because Psycho,
Okay.
people equated Norman Bates with a cross dresser. So
Mm-hmm.
anyone who was trans or a cross dresser or anything of that sort got lumped into, this is the crazy people out there and they will murder you because they will dress up
Oh
in your
yeah.
mom's dress and murder you, and that's Psycho. And in this, it's Murder Me Mutina,
Mm-hmm.
and it turns out
And then
it's a
they
self-hating mutant, and Mutina is real,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
The actress
Like it
playing
looks like
Mutina
she
in the
is
movie is Mutina in real life,
right.
right?
Bro. Bro, I didn't know. See, I never put it two and two together. It was the actress who did it.
The actress
But-
the actress didn't actually murder people until, like, the
so
actress,
after
yeah, was trying to murder the X-Men, and it's because the actress is a self-hating mutant. So it's
yeah.
weird. It's like, I don't know, it's like if Christian Bale on his off time actually dressed up like a bat and like swung
Started doing
around,
Batman
yeah,
shit.
doing Batman shit, right?
I, I would absolutely kind of low key love that, honestly.
He's just like, swear to me.
Where's the trigger?
But he's also an actor at the same time,
Right.
like
By day he's Christian Bale. By night he's Batman.
yeah.
I feel that's a good
But
that's
then
a
he
good
also
balance.
plays Batman. So anyway, in the next issue of Uncanny X-Men, it's not Mutina again. It's the city of New Orleans, because that's where the X-Men are in Uncanny,
Mm-hmm.
is throwing a Mutant Appreciation Day or something along those lines. It's either
Yeah.
Mutant Appreciation or Mutant Pride. I'm not quite sure, but the point being is they get to have a carnival and whatnot, and then who knows what'll happen. Obviously, anti-mutant people are gonna pop in, but
Oh,
that's
but
X-Men,
of course.
you know.
Right now, Loki, I did think that when I saw the cover of this, I thought it was the girl from Exceptional X-Men.
It does look,
The
yeah,
it looks very much like her, and I was like, is this? I was like, is that her? And at first, I thought like, oh, maybe like someone at that theater from like the first issue like saw her and was like, she's the depiction of like mutants. I was like, oh, this is gonna be some shit. And I felt like that would have deepened it more, a little bit more, if they like if she had like saw her and she based it on her.
yeah,
But no, then I was kind of glad. I was like, because at one point I was like, oh, is she going to be evil or something? I don't want that for her.
yeah.
Like I like her, and I feel like she's a unique one that they could do something with. Like out of all the new kids, I feel like she could
Bronze,
really
right? Is her
be
name?
yeah, Bronze, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like she could like be a part of like an X-Men team like one day if like they use her right and if they like
Yeah.
train her right.
I thought she looked more like Molly from Runaways because she has the ear hat,
The
you know?
ears, yeah.
Yeah, so that's kind of what I saw. So,
Where is
I don't
Molly?
know. I don't want to say
Jesus.
this character is interesting yet, but we'll see. It was an interesting story.
Yeah.
I think I liked the issue up until the reveal of Mutina. I think I liked everything before it because,
Right.
like,
I
you know,
always think self-hating mutants are interesting. I always think like the self-hating ones are like the interesting stories to tell, like
yeah.
when you go into it.
I mean, not in real life.
No,
Self-hating people in real life are the worst.
right.
But in the context of a story, sure.
Right,
Like, because Graydon Creed, not a mutant, but child of Victor Creed and
yeah,
Mystique.
and Mystique,
He
yeah,
hated mutants
which
because his parents were mutants.
and his dad treated him like shit. So
I mean,
I would
yeah,
also
it's
get
Victor
why.
Creed. What are you gonna like? Of
Yeah,
course.
I mean, right. You're right. It's Victor Creed. What did you expect your father to do? At some point you gotta,
I want Victor Creed, I like him being like a complete serial killer, but I also like it. I like when he's nice, like Age of Apocalypse Victor Creed. Like,
Sometimes, yeah,
you know,
yeah.
I
I
just
liked him during Axis when he was like a hero. I was like,
yeah
I kind of like this when he was a part of the Uncanny Avengers at one point.
yeah.
Like I was like, this is kind of cool.
You know who was funny at the Axis time is Carnage, because Carnage turned good, but Carnage was still a
Still doing
killer,
evil
and
shit.
but like
Yeah.
was good, so it was good in like a twisted way.
Yes.
And
I thought
so
that was a compelling one. That was a
yeah,
real compelling one, though.
I
Honestly, I
was like,
like that
oh,
one.
that's interesting, you know. All right, so we got to hit a couple more before we get going. Again, shout out to everybody out there. Um, um, Tell me about Magic issue 7 real quick.
I
'Cause
was
we got other stuff.
literally just thinking about that. Yeah, Magic was good. I like that they brought my girl Danny Moonstar in it, and honestly, it's a story about her like it's magic using magic, and we don't really get to see her do a lot of that.
Yeah.
And like which it's in her name, but yet we only like really get to see like little just her slashing shit up with her sword and teleporting out of things. But like now we get her like getting into her magic, and not only that, but struggling with her dark child persona. And like anytime she goes too deep into her magic, she kind of like in a way hulks out and turns into her like dark child thing. It's kind of like back in her New Mutant days.
Yeah.
So like I kind of like where it's going, but like she's helping Danny like with some kind of thing with her ancestors.
Okay.
And I anytime they get together, I like a New Mutants reunion.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Cool. I didn't read that one, but I did read Laura Kinney Wolverine #8, and I had to catch up on a couple previous issues.
Yeah.
I love Laura, but I didn't care for this issue. I don't care anything about Haymaker. I don't know Haymaker. I don't know.
I don't know him, but I felt like he was a good enough villain for some reason.
Well, he's not
I was
a
like,
villain,
I don't
right?
know. Not really.
Not
but
in
like
this, at
he's
least.
not in the sense, but I feel like he could be like a good like antagonist, or maybe like a good like middle grounder. I don't know.
He
I
just
don't know
doesn't
what
look
it was about
interesting
him.
enough. And
Yeah,
I'm gonna be
but
honest. Oh, sorry. What's that?
Oh no. I was just saying he looks just like distinct enough where I'm like, you could maybe do something, but he also kind of reminds me of
Night Thrasher.
what's his name? Oh, thank you for
Yeah.
saying it. I was like,
Were you thinking the same thing?
Yes, that's
Yeah.
exactly what I was thinking. I was
Yeah.
like, Night Thrasher. I was like,
Yeah.
Night something.
Night Thrasher.
Yeah, that's
Like he looks like
exactly
Night
what I
Thrasher. Also,
Night Thrasher and Red Hood.
this makes me miss. It was a couple issues ago where she was teaming up with Bucky.
Yes.
I don't need Laura teaming up with Haymaker. Let's just have her team up with Bucky from now on. Like that was a way better team up.
I love that the team up. I was for that team up very much so.
I
was like,
kind of like the tension. Is there some tension here?
Right? Yeah. I was like, do you guys want to like, I don't know, como se dice fuck?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. By the way, it's funny that you said como se dice fuck, but I forgot because it's either this issue or a previous issue that Laura Kinney of the comics doesn't speak Spanish.
That's crazy.
And you know why that's weird to me?
Why?
Because she speaks only Spanish in the Logan
in
movie.
the movie. Yes,
Yeah.
I forgot about that. Yeah, she only speaks Spanish in the movie. That's crazy. Yeah.
So I'm like, for some reason, I just assumed Laura knew Spanish. In the back of my mind, because everything's mixed up a little, I'm like, oh,
honestly,
she doesn't.
In my head canon, for some reason, I always saw Laura as like some sort of Latina for some reason. I don't know. Like maybe it's because of the show, like the X-Men Evolution show, and like her mom, but
she's brown in
like she's brown in that. I was like, okay, I was like, and then the Logan movie came out, and I was like, in my head, it was like only solidifying it for me. I was like, she's Latina. Like I was like, I feel like it would be really cool if she was like, if she ended up, her mom was like, if at least like half like Puerto Rican or something.
She's half, because she's half Logan. Sure.
Yeah.
Right. I think at the very least, how like Logan knows Japanese. Like Logan is
Yeah.
fluent Japanese. It just would be nice if like Laura wouldn't need to know Japanese because she's never had
Right.
to.
Let
But
her
if she
have
knew
another.
Spanish, like give her another language.
Yes. Give her another skill set.
You
Right. Give her
know?
another language. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah.
And it just would
Like,
be cool. Like Bucky wouldn't know Spanish, but Bucky would know German. Bucky would know
yep.
Italian. Bucky would
Yep.
know French. Like
French.
Bucky would know those languages, right? So like,
yep.
I don't know. This
I
is just
kind of want them to be in more things together. I
they're
need them
only
to
in
do
New
like a
Avengers. That's
little.
it. They're
Yeah.
New Avengers.
I need them to do like a. I need them to do like a cameo or be in some kind of team together.
I can't
Like
figure
a
out though,
team.
is Laura too young for Bucky? Because Bucky is sleeping
Oh, for sure.
with Black Widow in New Avengers, and Laura is
Yeah.
on the New Avengers.
Oh, that's happening again?
Yeah. You didn't read New Avengers issue 1?
I haven't.
Oh, they are
No,
full
but
on
I'm
in
definitely
bed.
going to read it now.
They're full on in bed, so you know.
Her and Bucky always like circle back, even though like I still find it weird that like he used to train her in the Red Room when she was a child, and we like
But he doesn't have like
forget about that.
memories. It's
He
hard.
doesn't remember it, but
It's
like she
hard,
does, and I'm like, it's complicated. I get it.
You ever
but
seen? We don't have much time, but have you ever seen The Time Traveler's Wife?
Yeah,
it's kind of like that in a way. Like
touche.
Like okay, but also you don't think of the like.
Yeah,
like, you're traveling through time, and essentially Bucky. It's almost like he's being frozen so much. It's like he's traveling through time in a way, right?
And let's be real. He's going to be too old for anybody, to be honest.
Same with Logan.
If we're being real, him and Captain America, they're all going to be too old for each other, for anybody.
All right,
but
we gotta hit
the next one.
All of these like 10 seconds.
Got you.
Doctor Strange of Asgard issue 5, I think, finishes off this series, right?
You were on my. I was literally about to say I can talk about Doctor Strange. No, I think so. It was a really good ending to it. The killer was exactly who I thought it was.
Don't spoil it. I'm gonna read it.
I won't spoil it for anybody, but yeah, it was a very good little like whodunit, and like seeing his process into becoming like the Sorcerer Supreme and seeing the special characters that come out of it. Like you're going to see a new character in the end of it that I think is going to be a very cool character going forward. I feel like if they do it right. But I like Doctor Strange and Doctor Strange of Asgard number 5 though.
Okay.
But I guess I need to read Immortal Thor because something happened.
Okay. I'm gonna pick up Mortal Thor when Mortal Thor issue 1 comes out, but like I heard Immortal Thor is good, but it ended and now it's Mortal Thor, and so that's kind of confusing. But whatever, I will do it. But I don't know whether I have to read Immortal to get Mortal. But whatever.
You'll probably have to read the last issue because that's what it told me on the Doctor Strange one. Do you know what happened in it?
I think he goes, he's getting plucked out of the timeline, right? Like Thor has never existed.
Sure.
Okay, I'll figure it out.
Read it. Yeah, I don't want to spoil it for you, so read it.
we got to move on. You got a couple more books that you read that I didn't read, so real quick, even shorter synopsis. Superior Avengers 4.
Damn it! I hate that I had to do a short synopsis on this one. It was actually really good. I loved the conflict within the conflict of the villain team, and I always like to see him Victor Von Doom's son. So I'm excited to see and him with Black Panther with Killmonger's daughter is weird to me, but also kind of hot.
Cool. Trinity, daughter of Wonder Woman, issue 2 from DC Comics.
It's a cute little story. It's not much to say about it. It's a cute little story about her, like, and her being a kid, having a kid, teenager, and adult self all together in one. Like, it's kind of like a mother maiden crone kind of thing that's going on. But it was a nice little cute story for Trinity. I'm ready for them to, like, every time I pick up a Trinity book, I'm keep hoping that they're going to tell a real story with her. But they show little cute stories.
I don't know why they keep pushing Trinity, but all right, that's fine. We're gonna move on. Wolverine and Kitty Pryde issue 4.
Yes. Did you read that one?
No. I'm not a big fan of like this time period, so it does take place in the past.
Understandable.
It's all right to me. I don't know.
Yeah. I like the Kitty Pryde and Ogun stuff, like when she's like, trying to de-learn all the stuff that she learned from Ogun. But this is a cool little story of like her and becoming friends with Ziggy, with the Trask girl. Ziggy Trask,
Oh, okay.
who I feel like, yeah, and there was like they're friends, but like there was like this tension, like you guys gonna get together. I don't know.
Right.
It'd be very crazy if she ended up getting with a Trask, one
Yeah.
of the family of the Sentinel makers.
All
But
right.
it was a good story though.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna run through everything else that I read. Predator, Red, White, and Blood. Um, I mean, it's just the same Predator type stories, but like in different time periods. So if you like the cartoon movie that just came out, Killer of Killers, you'd like this. That being said, normally these anthology books are Red, White, and Blood, or like Red, Blue, and White, or whatever. Red, White, and Blue, or whatever. But like in this, it's Black, White, and Blood, and the blood is both red and green, so it can use white, black, green, and red. Because alien blood is green, so they allowed themselves another color palette, so it makes the book a little bit more distinct. I thought it was cool.
Hmm.
Batman Dark Patterns issue 8, really good. Second part of the Pareidolia story arc. Batman Dark Patterns has been super good. I can't explain it much more than that. It's a mystery. If you like Batman mysteries, but you don't have to pick up multiple miniseries, you just start with Batman Dark Patterns issue 1. Like, issue 1, 2, and 3 is one story. 4, 5, and 6 is another story. 7, 8, and 9 is another story, which is what we're on right now. So, definitely worth picking up. I'm not even a fan of Batman miniseries, but Dark Patterns has been excellent. A kind of cute book that I don't know who this is for. It's a cute book, but also the women in this are drawn super sexy. Like like the artist draws them super caked up. And it's both a kind of almost a kid kind of story, but then also like, yeah. Anyway, it's
What
very
book was it?
Silver Age. It's supposed to be like Supergirl. This is Supergirl issue 3. It's supposed to be very Silver Age. The bad guy hits Supergirl with black kryptonite and turns her into Satan Girl, and like Satan Girl just is mean to everybody and like does bad things. Not like satanic things, but like just bad things. It's like Bizarro Supergirl, but it's Satan Girl. So it is what it is. I got one of the
Okay.
variant covers when I bought this book, the one with Streaky and Supergirl on the cover. It is what it is. Superman Treasury came out this week. It's a one shot from Superman. It's Dan Jurgens and Bruno Redondo. The art is amazing. The writing is pretty good. The story didn't need to happen. It takes place with young Jonathan Kent. So, like Superman, Lois Lane, young Jonathan Kent. It didn't need to tell the story, but I think it was like a love letter to Superman in general. So it is what it is. And then, last but not least, the Magic Order 5 issue 6 finishes off what I think it finishes off all of the Magic Order books. So this is the 5th one. I think this is the last of the series. It is what it is. Mark Miller, guilty pleasure. But if you like Mark Miller, read Magic Order 1 and then work your way into the 5th volume of it. So, anyway, that's it. That is it on my list. Aaron, thank you so much for coming on the show.
But of course,
It's always a pleasure to have you. We went through a lot
you
of
know.
books. So anyone out there who's not following Aaron, follow Aaron. Aaron, where can we find
Show
you?
love.
What do you got coming up? Anything you want to plug?
So I don't have anything coming up, but definitely find me at King Krakoa on TikTok and the King Krakoa on Instagram.
Awesome. If anyone wants to follow me personally, you can follow me at This Is Dimithri on Instagram. The other non-Keeg related stuff that I do in life, you can find me there. But if it's all about the Keeg, if it's all about geek stuff, follow the Keeg, because Comic Talk is just one of our shows. It's our most consistent one, but that's every Thursday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. We're talking about all the comics that came out this week. But we also have other shows that we do. Find out more at our social media at The Keeg Show on TikTok and Instagram. Those are our 2 biggest social media platforms at The Keeg Show. We're also on like Blue Sky and Threads and all that. At The Keeg Show / The Keeg Show. Wherever you can find The Keeg, we are there. Patreon.com/The Keeg Show. Going to create more content for that. If you're going to San Diego Comic-Con, we're going to be there. Can't say much more than that. I think officially I can't say anything much more, but it's in 2 weeks. And I don't know whether I can officially talk about what's going on in San Diego Comic-Con, but big things, big things. So
be there, be square.
Go see Superman this weekend. Go see Fantastic Four 2 weeks from now. Check out all the podcast episodes that we do on The Keeg on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Audible, Amazon Music, SoundCloud. We're on all those. So no matter how you're watching us, like, comment, subscribe, follow. Shout out to Sean the Boom Addict saying great show. Sean, are you from Boom Studios? Shout out to Boom Studios and all the comics that Boom makes out there. Shout out to Vinyl Casket that was here. So yes, whether you're watching us live or listening to the podcast, like, comment, subscribe, follow, write a review. Let us know you're out there because it's always great to have you guys. Support your local comic shops. Go to comicshoplocator.com. Find a comic shop near you. Support your local comic shops. And also support your local public libraries. That's pretty much it. That's the whole spiel that I got for you guys. Stay tuned. This weekend, obviously, we're going to do a Keeg Talks episode on Superman. So go see the movie, then tune in for the live stream / podcast where the Keeg Talks Superman. We're going to talk about the movie and everything about it. So that is pretty much it. Thank you, Aaron, yet again. Follow King Krakoa on all social media. Follow the Keeg at the Keeg Show on social media. And that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Once again, I am your host, Dimithri Perera, and this has been Comic Talk for the week of July 10th, 2025. Take care, everybody. Aaron, say bye.
Bye, y'all.